Okay, today we will discuss about the second. This is our second class, right? This is second class. And today we will talk about material stock control. The thing is, in management accounting, earlier chapter discussed the main focus is to control over the cost. That means you have to make yourself such that you can control over the cost. And if you can make this, if you can go for controlling the cost, in that case you can ultimately enhance your profit portion. That is the fact. So in every cases, in every step, we try to measure the cost, classify the cost, try to measure its behavior, and try to take the initiative so that we can control over that. So according to elementary basis, we have discussed that material is a kind of cost, right? Material is a kind of cost. So we have to control over that. Now in this chapter, we actually try to focus how we can do that. So the word is control. So first of all, we will discuss what do we mean by material stock control. What do you mean by this? Material stock control. This is the kind of activity. This is the kind of activity for the business organization. What kinds of activity? See, if you are running a specific business organization, first of all, you have to purchase the raw materials or different kinds of material, right? Then it may be possible there is a specific authorized procedure. You have to order the supplier. Then supplier deliver the things, then you have to store the things, then there may be different kinds of department, they requisition for material and you have to supply that from your store. At the end of the day, you have to control everything. So, the thing, material stock control is the kind of activity. What kinds of activity? Activity means material ordering, material storing, then the process of requisition, then how the material actually provided, and end of the day how the material actually calculated or how the physical inventory actually calculated. That's all about the activity of material stock control. Now the thing is, why we need this? What is the significance behind this? Stock control ta keno kortesi? So now we will discuss significance. That means we try to discuss what are the ultimate reason for which you have to control the stock. See, number one, if you do not have that much stock, if you run short of your stock within the production process, it may be possible your production will be halted. And it's a kind of opportunity cost. Because if you do not run the production process continuously, you cannot go for the economies of scale. That means you cannot go for lowering your cost per unit. That's why you always have to manage yourself to stock some specific things, stock some raw materials or some kinds of ingredients so that you can make the production process run continuously. So stock control should be there. Now the fact is, if you stock lower amount, or if you stock whimsically, it may be possible there will be a stock out. On the other hand, if you stock huge, enormous, in that case there may be a possibility of spoilage, distortion, etc. wastage actually. যে আমি বেশি রাখলেও আমার সমস্যা, কম রাখলেও সমস্যা, বেশি রাখলে নষ্ট হয়ে যেতে পারে আর কম রাখলে কি হতে পারে, কম রাখলে স্টক আউট হয়ে যেতে পারে, আমার প্রোডাকশন প্রসেস কন্টিনিউয়াস থাকবে না, ডিসকন্টিনিউ হয়ে যাবে। Then if you think about the finished goods, if you do not stock the finished goods, in that case it may be possible when the emergency demand arises, you cannot support that. In that case there may be possibility of loss of customer. Your customer is shifted to your competitors, right? So these are the reason why we need to control the stock. That means ensure ourselves stocking such amount so that we can support the emergency demand, we can support making the production process continuous. At the same time, it is not a kind of waste, it is not a kind of spoilage. Clear? So this activity as a whole we are We are saying this activity as a whole is a stock control, and it's the significance behind this. Clear? Okay. So up to this level of discussion, now it is very much clear to us that stocking is must, right? Stocking is must, and there should be a kind of activity, the activity which we are calling, which we are saying, that is controlling, right? Now the fact is, stocking is must. It is not free. If you want to stock any kinds of things, either finished goods or raw materials or work in process, everything else, in every cases you need you have to confront some specific types of cost. And why we have to focus on cost? Cost is there. Cost is there. What kinds of cost? There are normally several kinds of cost related to the stocking. Stocking is অনেক রকম খরচ যুক্ত, but depend upon the criteria, depend upon the characteristics, we can divide those costs in two different category, two different group. One is আমি কি একটা ভিডিও অন করছি, stock holding cost, and another is stock ordering cost. Ordering cost. Normally, stock holding cost symbolized with CH, and stock ordering cost is symbolized with CO. So we have to confront different types of cost if we start stocking a specific kind of material, and depend upon the criteria we discussed, that is the cost can be differentiated in two different groups. One is holding cost and another is ordering cost. Our main focus is to control over the material stocking cost or stock control cost. That's why we need to know the classification of cost and their behavior so that we can go for controlling. Clear? So initially these are two kinds. So now we'll discuss this elaborately. তোমাদের কিন্তু আমি বারবার বলতেছি, F2 পরীক্ষা যখন দিতে যাবা তোমরা এই ক্লাস ভালো করে শুনলে তারপরে ওই ভিতরে কিছু অঙ্ক করবা, ব্যাস। Initially we will talk about stock holding cost. Stock holding cost, which is symbolized by CO, CH. Think yourself. If you want to stock some kinds of raw material for your production process, what are the different kinds of stages that you have to go through? Number one, first of all, you have to purchase the raw material, right? You are not the producer. You have to purchase the raw material first. If you want to purchase, then huge amount of capital will be tied with the purchasing. Normally, huge amount of capital is tied with the purchasing, and it is usual that you will borrow this money from the bank. Normally, it is normal cases, that is, organization actually purchase or procure its different kinds of material by borrowing money from the financial institution like bank. Now, the thing is, when your huge amount of capital is tied with the purchasing, that means you have to provide interest against that, and interest is a kind of cost, and this cost arising why? As you are intended to stocking something, that's why this cost actually arising. So we can say this is interest. Interest that you have to provide it against the capital tied with the purchasing, right? One type of cost. Then suppose you are buying these kinds of raw material from a foreign supplier or supplier who is in another geographical location. That means when you try to bring the things to yourself or to your organization premise, then there may be possible, that is, you have to provide VAT, value-added tax, different kinds of legal fees also. So as a whole we can say legal fees. Legal fees, then government owned VAT, tax, etc., etc. So these are also kind of costs that you have to provide, right? Then after bringing the thing or material to your organization, it may be possible that you have to store that in a specific location specific location where the material should be stored with specific or specified amount or a specified what can I say, temperature. Lighting should be there, temperature should be there. So as a whole, we can say that is warehousing charts. Warehousing. So these are the different types of cost that you have to confront, that you have to make sure yourself to stock the material. These all costs, when you add these all kinds of cost as a whole, these are the stock holding cost. Now the thing is important thing that you have to memorize, that is stock holding cost is behave just like the variable cost. In the case of variable cost calculation or variable cost discussion, we discuss one is variable cost per unit and another is total variable cost, which is V into Q. Here we have to assume that these stock holding cost also behave just like the variable cost. CH means stock holding cost per unit, just like the variable cost per unit. Stock holding cost per unit is a constant unit or fixed unit for every cases. But TCH means total holding cost, and total holding cost means holding cost per unit into quantity. We will discuss quantity later on. But TCH actually changes as the quantity changes. But CH per unit is just like the variable cost per unit and remain as a fixed unit. Clear? So that's why if you think yourself CH holding cost per unit, whatever the unit that you are going to hold, but per unit holding cost will obviously fixed, just like this is CH. But when you are talking about total holding cost means as you are increasing the amount of quantity holded, a constant amount of holding cost per unit will be charged with each specific unit. As the charge is constant, that's why you can say this is a specific straight line, and this is TCH. Clear? Total holding cost actually increase with a constant amount. The constant amount is CH per unit. Clear? That's why this is a straight line, and this is just like the total variable cost. As you increase the holded amount, as you store more, as you stock more, it will cost more, but at a constant level. That's why this is a straight line. Clear? Now the thing is, another types of cost, that is ordering cost part. Ordering cost, which is symbolized by CO. What do you mean by this? These are also costs, stock related costs, but they depend upon the criteria. These are different. But as a whole, these are stocking costs, we can say. So what do you mean by a stock ordering cost? There are two types of cost within this. Accumulate. If you accumulate the two types of cost, as a whole, you can have the total ordering cost per stocking. Number one is carrying cost. Carrying, what you can say, freight transportation charge, freight transportation cost, or you can say delivery cost. Suppose you purchase some kinds of raw material from Dhaka, a supplier who is in Dhaka, and you are in Khulna. That means you have to deliver the thing, you have to carry or you have to load it, you have to shift the raw material from supplier premise to your premise, and there will be a specific carrying cost, delivery cost, that is ordering cost. And another cost is administrative expenses. Admin expense. Some other kinds of cost related to ordering cost, that is administrative expenses. What do you mean by that? That is, you guys are very much familiar with the word tender, right? That is normally when the business organization actually step forward to purchase or procure any kinds of things. First of all, it actually search different kinds of supplier who is best suited for him, and this suitability actually depends upon capital structure, its own structure, then the price per quantity, etc., quality, etc. So administrative expense, that means if you want to purchase some specific things, purchase kinds of material, first of all you have to search for your supplier, then you have to go for several stages. That means order them, deliver it, store it. That means in every purchase, organization needs some specific time, and time means money for business organization. So administrative expense means the time actually used by the procurement department or purchase department to purchase each individual order from individual supplier. That is administrative expense. The time is a kind of expense. Clear? So when you combine these two kinds of expense, as a whole you are having stock ordering cost. But the important thing is CO means ordering cost per order. This is per order cost. Per order. In a specific individual order, you can order for 5 ton, you can order for 10 ton, you can order for different kinds of quantity. Quantity doesn't matter here. Here, to provide different kinds of quantity, the cost associated or cost arise to provide in that specific order. Here order is thing, quantity is not the fact. Clear? So each individual order you need some specific amount, that is ordering cost. Now if you think about the graph, in doing this, first of all you have to memorize that is demand. Demand means annual uses or annual capacity that the organization can procure, that the organization can process. The annual demand of individual organization must be fixed. Capacity will be there. So before graphing this ordering cost per order, first of all you have to assume that is demand will be fixed for each annual basis or each per annum. Now একটা ছোট্ট example আমরা বলি, suppose your demand is 20 metric ton in whole year. It doesn't mean that means you have to store the 20 metric ton at the same time, because as you stock more, stock holding cost will be more, right? We are here to control over the cost. That means every stages or every space we have to control the things. That means if you want to control the holding cost, you have to hold lesser amount, right? Now suppose your demand is 20 metric ton. If you order 5 metric ton per order, in that case, to have this 20 metric ton, you need to place order 4 times. That means to have this 20 metric ton in total year, each time you are placing order for 5 metric ton, that means you have to place order for 4 times. 4 times. Now, if you order 10 metric ton per, that means you are ordering amount, voluminous amount than the previous, in comparison to the previous. In that case, you have to order to have that 20 metric ton 2 times, right? That means as you are ordering more amount to have the specific fixed demand, your order times will be lesser. That's why the graph is just like this one. Why? When you are ordering 4 metric ton, previous 5 metric ton, 5 suppose, your number of order is 4 times, 4 times, each time there is a specific ordering cost, suppose as for example 2 taka. In that case, 4 into 2, 8 taka is required. But as you are ordering more, 10 metric ton, in that case number of order squeezes, reduced. Your total ordering cost is 4 taka. Here 8 taka, here 2 taka. That means as you are ordering more voluminous, your number of order decreased. That's why the total ordering cost also decreased. So this is the ordering cost line or graph, you can say. Now, up to this level of discussion, we are using two different line. One is TCH line, just like the total variable cost, and another is TCO line. TCO line can be double. So TCO line is behaving just like the fixed cost per unit. Fixed cost per unit lowered as you increase the volume. Okay, now we are in the position. Suppose you are the management accountant for any business organization. First of all, you have to make yourself clear. Do you know the position of management accounting, or do you know the difference between financial accountant and management accountant? Suppose manager who is acting in the finance department. His main task is to think about how you can go for financing the organization, and how ultimate profit he can achieve by investing per dollar. That means his focus is just investing. But if you are the management accountant are the ultimate pioneer position in the organization. They have to think end to end of the company, end to end of the total organization. That means they have to focus the total organization as a whole. So who is the important? Management accountant is the important position. And management accountants are provided the highest salary, highest paid salary. It's the highest paid salary job. That's why CIMA is more important than ACCA. Whatever. এখন আমরা যেটা বলতেছিলাম, suppose you are the management accountant. You are in the position so that you have to take the decision. What kinds of decision? How much to be ordered and stocked, because cost is related to that, and we are here to control about the cost, right? The question is that how much we have to order and stock, so that the total stock related cost we can minimize that. Minimize means least. It will not go beyond that, or it will not go down that. That means least. We have to find out that least. Here, now the thing is, when you are taking decision to lower any kinds of cost, one is TCH versus TCO. Suppose if you want to total holding cost as well, how you can do that? Total holding cost is just like the variable cost. So if you want to lower that, you have to hold lesser amount. You have to squeeze the holding amount or stock amount. So how you can reduce this total holding cost? By holding lower. That means each time you are placing order lower, it will affect your total holding cost. Initial example we have discussed. When you are ordering 5 metric ton to have 20 metric ton, you have to place 4 times order. But when you are ordering 10 metric ton, to have 20 metric ton, you have to place order 2 times. Time order reduce. That means if you want to reduce the TCH by holding lesser amount, it will affect TCO. Ultimately, your number of order will be increased, and total ordering cost obviously it will increase. On the other hand, if you want to reduce this total holding cost, that means you have to reduce the number of order. So reducing number of orders. That means when you step forward to reducing the number of order, suppose initially to have 20 metric ton, you place 5 ton orders. That means each and every time you have to order for 4 metric ton. Now you want to reduce this order for 2 times, rather 5 times or 4 times. You take the decision to place order for 2 times. To 2 times ordering to have the 20 metric ton, you have to increase the number of order, the amount of order. That means when you take the decision to place 2 times order, in each and every order you have to provide 10 metric tons order. That means it will affect here. As you order more amount, that means you have to stock more amount, this stock holding cost will be increased. So this is the pitfall or dilemma in controlling over the cost depend upon its own criteria. That's why now the question is, we are in the position to control over that. So how we can take the decision? So the question is, here the question is, how much we have to stock and order so that it will minimize the total stock related cost, which is also called by TAC, total annual cost. The fact is, here we will use a model which is called EOQ model, economic order quantity. Economic, you know the meaning economic, right? Economic order quantity. It's a kind of model. You have to memorize this. 2CO D by CH. You know the meaning of each individual symbol. We have already discussed. CO ordering cost per order, D means annual demand, and CH means holding cost per order. So by using this model or formula, you can find out EOQ, economic order quantity. It will provide you the quantity, this quantity to be ordered and to be stocked so that your total annual stock related cost will be minimum. Minimum means as a whole this cost will not go less than this. So we have to find out that minimum cost. So we can do this by using a specific graph which is called EOQ module or EOQ graph. So now we will discuss what do we mean by EOQ? It is clear. EOQ provide you that much quantity which to be ordered and to be stocked so that it will lower or it will minimize your total annual stock related cost. Clear? Now EOQ graph. If you combine these two graphs in a specific graph, the graph will be just like this one. দুটো গ্রাফ এক করে ফেলি। According to horizontal axis, we plot the quantity ordered, and according to vertical axis, we are representing holding cost as well as ordering cost. There is a segmented point. This segmented point is EOQ, and it is assumed that if you combine this cost and this cost, it will ultimately provide the total cost related to the stocking. That's why total cost is aligned up to this level below. So this is TCH, this is TCO, and in every case, suppose when you are ordering this much, how much your holding cost this much, and how much your ordering cost this much. So if you add this much, as well your total cost is this much, right? এখন খেয়াল করো, if you go up, your holding cost is increasing, but your ordering cost is decreasing. At this point, both the costs are same. As you go beyond this, your total ordering cost lowered, but your holding cost increased. Clear? So this is the EOQ, and this level your total TAC. This is TAC, total annual cost, TAC. We assume that this is the minimum level of cost. If you go upward or downward in every cases, the cost will be much more than this. Go here, the cost is here. Go downward, the cost is here. This is the minimum cost. Clear? Now we will talk about বোঝা যাচ্ছে আমি একটু তাড়াতাড়ি বলতেছি কারণ আমাদের প্রতিদিন একটা ইন্ডিভিজুয়াল চ্যাপ্টার গো থ্রু করতে হয়। ওকে, নাও we have to discuss some assumption, EOQ related assumptions. EOQ related assumption. Why we are talking about assumption? We can say EOQ rules. এটাও তো বলতে হবে, এটা বলতেছি না। EOQ related assumptions. Assumption means when this model actually prepared some kinds of assumptions ascertained, and you have to assume those things every spaces. You cannot change that. তুমি এই জিনিসগুলো চেঞ্জ করতে পারবে না। That's why these are assumptions. Number one assumption. First time বলে আসছি, according to graph, that is this is EOQ. So this is the combination of two graph. আমরা তো জানি এখন না, this is the combination of two graph. This much, if you order this much and stock this much total ordering cost will be there, this much total holding cost will be there. So first assumption, that is at my EOQ, my total holding cost will be equal to my total ordering cost. This is the first assumption. Second assumption, at EOQ, my total annual cost will be minimized. সবচেয়ে কম হবে খরচ। এটা আমরা লিখলাম না, আমরা মুখে বলছি। At EOQ, the total annual cost, stock related holding cost will be minimum. If you go beyond or within, in every cases your total holding cost will be more than EOQ cost. Then number two, which is important, that is TCH. TCH means total holding cost, and CH means holding cost per unit. So initially, apparently you can assume if I hold 5 metric ton, per metric ton 2 taka, so 10 metric ton will be my cost. If I hold 15 metric ton, then 15 into 30 taka will be my total cost. This is not the fact. Here you have to assume some different. Different means total holding cost means that amount of cost which is required to hold the average level of inventory, not the total. Assumption means that you have to always use this formula, use this assumption. That's why it will be holding cost per unit into not the holded amount into average quantity. And according to rules, assumption, this average quantity means CH into EOQ divided by 2, or CH into EOQ divided by 2 plus SI, safety inventory. In some mathematical problem, you guys may be provided another terms, which is safety inventory. Safety. It depends upon the organizational strategy, whether the organization maintains some safety stocks or not. This safety stocks is then different way. Safety stock, average inventory, then it may be buffer level of inventory. That is emergency stock, you can also say. When your usual stock ended, to have the next shipment emergency period, within the emergency period you can run your business organization operation by using this emergency demand. That's why this is called safety inventory. Safety stock, buffer level of inventory, buffer extra. Clear? So if your organizational strategy is to maintain safety stock, in that case average means EOQ divided by 2 plus SI, or if there is no strategy to maintain SI, in that case average means EOQ divided by 2. It depends upon your mathematical problems. Clear? So what do we mean by total holding cost? This is not the cost of holding the total amount. This is the cost of holding the average amount. And average means EOQ divided by 2 or EOQ divided by 2 plus safety inventory. Clear? Now, এই যে ফ্যান অফ রাখছো না, এতে কি হবে? এতে তোমাদের ভয়েসটা ভালো আসার কথা। আমি এসি লাগাতে চেয়েছিলাম, কিন্তু আমি থাকবো না, এই জন্য আমি চলে যাবো। কারণ তোমরা লোক সুবিধার না, মেইন কথা হচ্ছে এটা। আমি যেখানে পড়াবো ভালো ছেলে পেলে কি, দেখো একজনের আগের দিন ক্লাসে এসে আমি বাংলায় বলছি তো আমার বাইরের ছেলেগুলো বুঝবা ও আজকে গেস্টে গেছে আমি তোমাদের সবাইকে ফ্র্যাঙ্কলি স্পিকিং আমি এই কোর্সগুলো আই নট রিভিউ দিস individual chapters. This is the last time that I'm going through these individual chapters. Okay. So EOQ assumption বোঝা গেছে তাহলে we can go for mathematical problem solving related to this EOQ model. Clear? We'll go do this later on. Now we'll think about first of all we'll compare between EOQ and bulk inventory. You guys are familiar with bulk? Bulk means use. The question of bulk actually arises when there is a provision of discount. As for example, suppose individual t-shirt cost is 100 taka. But if you buy 2 t-shirts at the same time, rather providing 200 taka, you have to provide 150 taka. It's a kind of discount provision options. Just like this small example, there is a supplier and a manufacturer. Manufacturer is depend upon the supplier to have the raw materials, right? Supplier is doing business, manufacturer is also doing business. Now, supplier's intention, raw material supplier, who are the raw material supplier, their intention is to sell as much as possible as quickly. That's why there may be an option of discount or discount offer by the supplier. But the fact is, if you want to have the discount offer, in that case you have to go for bulk amount of ordering. One is EOQ ordering, that is economic order, to minimize your cost. And another is bulk. Obviously this bulk means more than the economic order, right? So what do you think? If there is an option of bulk or discounting, you can say this is discounting option. Discount, when there is a discount option. So now the question is whether still you remain with your EOQ or go for the bulk. Before starting this paper, we discussed that is we have to minimize the cost anyway. Minimization cost means that amount of profit increased, right? Which is one of the most feasible way. EOQ we have calculated why? To minimize the stock related annual cost. Bulk is another option how we can lower the cost. That means if you go for bulk, in that case you can take the discount provisions. There is another types of lowering the cost. Now the question is which to be situated or which to be started or which to be go for. In that case you have to compare two different things. Number one, you have to find out the TAC, total annual cost. Total annual cost, how you can calculate that? First of all, you have to find out TCH, and TCH means holding cost to hold the average level of inventory. That means CH holding cost per unit into average level of inventory. You can assume EOQ by 2. But here it will be CH into bulk by 2. CH is equal in every cases, but this amount here, this amount will be larger in compared to this amount because EOQ is economic amount. So average of that will be lower than bulk amount. So obviously, if you compare these two, it will be more. Barbe. On the other hand, you can say if you hold more, holding cost will be more. Then I show TCO. TCO, total holding cost, means CO into number of order that you have placed orders. Here, annual demand. 20 metric ton is our demand. Each time you are placing order for 5 metric tons. So how many times you have to order? 4 times. How you can get this? That is demand by EOQ. But here, this is CO into demand by bulk. In the case of bulk, you are ordering more amount. That's why it will lower your number of order. Number of order এখান থেকে এখানে কমে যাবে না? Obviously, this number of order will be lower than this number of order. but CO is equal for every cases. So obviously this will be lower in compared to this one. Another is TP, total purchase price. That means you have to purchase the raw material. Now the thing is, to have this demand, you are purchasing D amount, and purchase price, suppose as for example purchase price per unit is P. In that case here, this is demand into purchase price per unit. But here, when you are going to bulk inventory, in that case your demand is fixed. But here the price is lower than this because there is a discount options. So here suppose the discount option is P1. Discount price per unit P1 is obviously lower than P. So obviously it will lower than this one. So then when you add these three components, it will provide you the TSC for EOQ and also it will provide the TSC for bulk. Which one is lower, you can go for that. বোঝা গেছে? তোমাদের সবাইকে বলে দিচ্ছি, জানুয়ারি থেকেও যদি তোমরা শুরু করতে পারো সবাই সেকেন্ড লেভেলের, ইফ জানুয়ারি থেকে আমার শুরু করাটা হচ্ছে ইফ ট্যাক্সেশন আরেকটা ব্যাচ ট্যাক্সেশন, তোমরা জানুয়ারি থেকে ওদের সাথে শুরু করলে অ্যাটলিস্ট জুনে পরীক্ষায় বসতে পারবা। আর জানুয়ারি থেকে যদি শুরু না করতে পারো, ইটস আপ টু ইউ, তোমরা কোথায় পড়ো ইটস ডিপেন্ডস আপন ইউ। বাট জানুয়ারি থেকে যদি শুরু না করতে পারো, তুমি জুনেও পরীক্ষা দিতে পারো। এই পরীক্ষা তো সারা মাস দেওয়া যায়, কিন্তু ওই পরীক্ষা জানুয়ারিতে শুরু করে, ক্যান ইউ ইমাজিন স্টার্টিং ইন জানুয়ারি ইউ ক্যান সিট ফর দ্য এক্সাম ইন মার্চ? ইজ ইট পসিবল? So if you start in January, in that case you can assume that you can at least start from June. So it's up to you. আমি তাড়াহুড়া করবো কেন? আমাকে পরীক্ষা দিতে হবে, আমি পরীক্ষা দিব। এই অপশন থাকলে ভালো হতো না? সবার কাছ থেকে টাকা নিয়ে যার যার পরীক্ষা দিয়ে আসতাম। ওকে, এখানে দেখো আমরা লাস্ট কি আলোচনা করলাম? আচ্ছা, ডিফারেন্স বিটুইন ইউক এন্ড বল। Then we'll discuss about EBQ. Initially we discussed EOQ. Now we'll discuss EBQ. So what the difference between these two? This is the economic quantity, this is also an economic quantity, but there is a slight difference or big difference between these two. What kinds of difference? In the case of EOQ, this is the quantity, EBQ, this is also a quantity. But these are not the same. These are not the same. So what do you mean by that? EOQ is a model we have discussed. EOQ provide me a specific quantity, that much to be, remember, that much to be ordered and that much to be stocked to minimize the total stock related annual cost. Order korba, stock korba, TSC minimize korar jonno, right? EBQ, if you go through different kinds of program launched in National Geographic or Discovery, suppose last day I seen the manufacturing process of Ferrari. Their capacity is to produce more, but they are producing 10 units at the same time. Capacity আছে অনেক বেশি বানানো, কিন্তু এক এক সময় তারা 10টার বেশি বানাচ্ছে না। পেছনের রিজনটা কি? They have a brand value একটা আছে। তারপরে এই যে 10টা, why they are not producing 20 rather 10? They are not producing 20, rather they are producing 10. Why the fact is, what the fact behind this is? The fact is, ultimately মনে হয় বেশি বানালে বেশি লাভ, তাই না? But why they are producing 10? Calculating different kinds of calculation, they sort out if they produce 10 units at a same time, these are high value product, right? They can maintain the minimum cost of production. Here our intention is to minimize the total annual stock related cost. But here the intention is to minimize the total manufacturing cost. So EBQ, economic batch quantity. What do we mean by this? Economic batch quantity provide you that much quantity which to be manufactured within a lot. manufactured within a lot so that it will minimize your total manufacturing cost. This is the difference between EOQ and EBQ. And the model is that EBQ বোঝা গেছে, it will provide you that much quantity which to be manufactured within a lot, within a batch, you can say, within a batch. If you think about the loaf manufacturer, loaf producer, bread producer, in a batch they produce at least suppose as for example they produce 50 loaf or 100 loaf. It depends upon some manufacturing cost. Reasons behind this is there. So EBQ is economic batch quantity, this much to be produced within a batch or lot which will minimize my manufacturing cost. And it's the obviously model. The model is 2COD by CH into 1 minus demand D by R. Here are some differences there. Initially in this EOQ, CO means ordering cost per order. But in the case of EBQ, this CO means order, we are manufacturing. In that case, this CO means machine setup cost. Setup cost for per batch. To go for producing a specific batch, before producing there will be some setup cost. That is CO. CH is holding cost per unit. D means uses, annual uses, but R means the annual capacity. And you know the capacity obviously more than the uses. Suppose your machine's capacity is to produce 100 pen of these kinds of pen. This is the capacity, but it doesn't mean that it can produce 100. Ultimately, it may be produced 80 or 90, not more than 100, less than 100, right? So, within the example, if you are not in the position to find out which is uses and which is capacity, always remember that capacity will always greater than the procurement or uses. Clear? Then we'll talk about some other. We have already discussed how much, how many to be ordered, or how much or how many to be manufactured. EBQ, EOQ, আমরা বলে আসছি. We have discussed EBQ also. Now the question is, suppose think yourself, in your household, oil, soybean oil, right? We all people are very much used to use the soybean oil in our household activity, right? Now the question is, when you will purchase a new jerry can, after finishing the total oil, or at the mid level, or which level? It's a kind of question. কখন যাব? আমি যেমন খুব স্লো মানুষ, স্লো কোচ, ওই দোকানে সহজে যাই না। লোক আছে হয় ওরা যায়, ওদেরকে যে ফোন করে বল দিব সেটা বলতে আমার কষ্ট লাগে। তেল যখন শেষ হয়ে যায়, তোমার আব্বু যখন বলে যে কালকে থেকে খাওয়া বন্ধ, তখন কালকে আবার 2-3 ক্যান নিয়ে আসে, তারপরে ভুলে যায় আবার কবে আনতে হবে। But this is not the fact in the case of organization. If the total stock ended and then you place the order, there is a time gap between placing order and having that order, obviously. Within that time, your production process remain halted, remain closed, and closing production process means manufacturing cost uppriced. বোঝা গেছে? The fact is, now we have to think about when to be ordered. Initially we talk about how much to be ordered. Now it is when to be ordered. কোন সময়? Suppose this is the warehouse. This is the warehouse. Full-fill warehouse, mid-level warehouse, last-level warehouse. So from this there is a pipeline while producing some things. So this amount of stock is lowering each and every moment. Now the question is, which level you have to place an order? কোন সময় তোমাকে order place করতে? Which is called reorder level. Reorder level. আমি এটা মুছে ফেলি এটা। ডিসকাশন যদি ভালো করে শুনো, বই পড়ারই দরকার নেই। ওই তুমি F3 দিবা না, বসে থাকলে ভুলে যাবা, ওইটা ফুল পড়লা না, তাহলে পরীক্ষা দাও না কেন? পরীক্ষা না দিলে তো লাভ নেই, ভুলে যাবা। আমি কিন্তু আর দেখাবো না। Reorder level equal to uses into lead time. Uses means processed by the machine each and every day or each and every specific individual time gap. কতটুকু সে প্রসেস করতে পারে, that is uses. Lead time. Lead time means time gap between placing an order to the supplier and having that order from the supplier. Suppose your supplier is in Dhaka. If you place an order today for 5 metric ton or 10 metric ton, something like that, to have this order, your time requirement is 2 days. 2 দিন লাগে জিনিসটা পেতে। This is lead time. Clear? So if your uses and lead time is constant, fixed, in that case reorder level means uses into lead time. It will provide you, suppose as for example 90, suppose 90 kg. That means in the warehouse when there is 90 kg, then you have to place an order for the reshipment. Before coming up the reshipment, you can use the remaining amount. Clear? But think about our country. If you start for Dhaka today, can you assure you can reach Dhaka by today? It may be possible one day after. হতে পারবে এমন? আমি যেমন একদিন রাত্রে রওনা হয়েছি, পরের দিন সন্ধ্যায় এসে পৌঁছেছি। আমাদের কাজ কি? লেপ কাঁথা কম্বল নিয়ে চলে যাবো বাসে, ব্যাস উঠবো, এটা ঘুমায় যাবো, বাস যখন থামবে তখন মনে করবো যে চলে আসছে। The fact is, in some cases, usage is not fixed. Can you ensure that is in today, the whole day I can have the electricity supply? Can you assure that? In our country, it is not possible to assure. So, in some cases, this usage is not constant. Obviously, there will be minimum uses and maximum uses. Minimum and maximum will be there. Lead time, according to our country, lead time will be 2 days or 2 weeks. Truck. আমার এক ফ্রেন্ডের ট্রাক আছে, তো প্রায় আমার ফোন করে বলে ট্রাক সব নদীতে ফেলে দিল। ট্রাক পাঠায়, লরি পাঠায়, চিরঙে যায়, কিন্তু যদি খুলনায় আসে ট্রাকটা যে কবে পার হবে ও বলতে পারে না। এমন হয়েছে 7 দিন লাগছে, 7 দিন এসে তাও ট্রাক পার হয়নি। শুধু মামাঘাট না, আরেক জায়গাটা হচ্ছে তো ট্রাক শুধুমাত্র ভিআইপি হয়ে যায় আমার দেশে ঈদের সময়। গরু ছাগল থাকে, তখন গরু ছাগল আমাদের থেকে বেশি ইম্পর্টেন্ট। আমি লাস্ট বাড়িতে গেছি, আমার বাস উঠতেই দিবে না, গরু ছাগল উঠে গেছে। পরে অনেক চাপাচাপি করে বাস উঠলাম, আমি বাসের মধ্যে আর চারদিকে আমার সব গরু ছাগল অবস্থা বুঝে। So whatever, it may be possible in some cases uses and lead time is not constant. So obviously there will be a maximum uses, minimum uses. Maximum lead time, minimum lead time. So when there is uses and lead time is not constant, in that case, reorder level is maximum uses into maximum lead time. So it depends upon your mathematical problem, which you have to confront. Clear? Okay. Then this reorder level also can be subdivided into 2 segments. One is max level, another is mean level. Max level and mean level. These two are, according to management phonetics, these two are called the threaded level for the management. Both max level and mean level is threaded level for the management. Why? Vessel দেখছো তোমরা, জাহাজ, ভেসেলের গায়ে দেখবা যে নাম্বারিং করে দেওয়া আছে, একটা জায়গায় লেখা আছে ম্যাক্স MX, আর একটা জায়গায় লেখা আছে MIN মিন। max level, suppose this much. Even in the narrow form, when you actually refuel your car or motorbike, we do not refuel the total amount or total capacity of the tank. We refuel the capacity remaining some capacity. Suppose your total capacity of your tank is 10 liter, we will refuel 9 liter. ফাঁকা রাখতেছি কেন? The intention is when you are refueling the oil, it may be possible there will be some vacuum and some kinds of evaporation may be there. So if you tight the or fulfill the tank and then tight it, it may be possible there is a possibility of blasting the tank, right? The fact is max level. Suppose this is the max level. আমাদের দেশে একটা एग्जांपल বলি, এলএনজির নাম শুনছো? এলএনজি, লিকুইড ন্যাচারাল গ্যাস। রিসেন্টলি আমরা বাইরে থেকে আমদানি করা শুরু করছি। পার ডে there is a option that per day it will provide কত 30 কি 30 কি একটা সামথিং লাইক দ্যাট। বাট হঠাৎ করে জাহাজ চলে আসছে এবং অন্য জাহাজ অন দ্য ওয়ে, বাট সাডেনলি এলএনজির যে পাইপে প্রবলেম is there is a problem in the underwater pipe. That's why Bangladesh Petroleum Corporation requests the supplier not to supply the things. কেন? Because already warehouse এই পরিমাণ আছে, আমি তো ইউজ করতে পারতেছি না। Max level is a threatened level. Reshipment, in this case your reshipment should be shut down immediately, otherwise there may be a option of spoilage, evaporation, distortion. Max level. So how you can calculate that max level? Reorder level plus reorder quantity. Reorder quantity means COQ. We have discussed. Minus mean uses into mean lead time. Mean level. Suppose this is the mean level.
Sir, 57 minute হয়েছে।
বন্ধ হয়ে গেছে নাকি?
না,
আচ্ছা, বন্ধ হলে বলবো। হ্যাঁ, এটা শেষ। মিনিমাম লেভেল। মিনিমাম লেভেল is also a threat level for the management. If your warehousing stock remain or comes to minimum level, you have to make sure yourself immediate reshipment. Otherwise, there may be a possibility of stock out. Stock শেষ হয়ে যাবে। Stock out. In that case, your production process halted. So how you can calculate that? That is reorder level minus average uses into average lead time. So these are the two different reorder level. One is max and another is mean. Both are threat level for the management. Clear? Okay. The last one. Free inventory. এটা এখানে বন্ধ করি, পরে আলোচনা করি। কত হয়েছে?
58